this might be a little controversial. I know, without going into specifics, I know Rob Zombie and Malek Akkad kind of had some differences as far as the artistic direction of the film went. What kind of control do you have?
Well, I would love
how
to
much
know
input
this.
would he have in the film?
Oh, I tell you, I have had an absolute ball working with Malik. I mean, he's the most forthcoming, honest, no BS producer, and it's great. I mean, it's so, everything is a landmine potentially when you're talking about something as something as vital in the horror escape as Halloween. Like it's always like shaking the baby, and I love how much passion he has and how he holds dear the characters in that movie. I mean, that's his family. That's his. There's a legacy there, so it's very important. I love, because it's like, all right, I had been in meetings on other projects where you can see that just check these boxes and we're fine. But I like being in passionate rooms with people that will be just as mad to defend it. That tells me, like, it's not about the anger of the moment or anything. It's just proof they care, and I love that.
Well, I love the Halloween films. I really do.
So is this looking like a one-off project, or is this something that maybe potentially you and Patrick may be doing a couple movies for the franchise?
Oh, you know what? That's one thing. What did you? I loved The Dark Knight because The Dark Knight felt complete, and I wanted to see the next one right away. Kind of like I wanted to see The Dark Knight right after I saw Batman Begins. So, having worked on sequels where we knew, and everybody kind of knew that there was another one coming, it always feels there's no reward if you're feeling like you're watching a perpetual middle. This has to be a terrifying and complete experience. And yes, you can always, if anything proved anything, Halloween 3 proved that, you can go start from scratch anywhere. You can bring in druids if you want. But, does the movie work as a movie first? Is the film a complete experience? And I didn't have any money growing up, and to go and see a movie or rent a movie and whatnot, that was a big deal. And I always feel some of those sequels, not sequels in Halloween per se, but just sometimes you felt the perpetual middle of a sequel, and kind of felt ripped off. Like I want a complete experience. I want the full ride. I don't want to go through the roller coaster, be dropped off at the top, and then have to wait another year to ride to the bottom.
You're not specifically making a film with a sequel in mind?
No, it's engineered to be a complete experience. Okay. And then and it has to, just the same thing. The movie has to earn the respect of the audience, and then if it has the respect of the audience, and Rotten Tomatoes is going to tell you 72 hours before you can even get a ticket, someone's got to get on there and be like, it's terrible or it's amazing or whatnot. And it's a horror movie, so you really have even less time. It has to be a horror movie and get a fresh rating. It has to be just exceptional. So that's what we're going for. We're like,
so
okay.
do you want to stick around or what? Like, what do you want to do? It's about what you want. What does Marcus Dunstan want? What do you want to do? Do you want to stick around and do a couple of these films, or do you just want to, just do this one film and bow out gracefully? What do you want?
Oh, I want to make The Dark Knight.
So
that's what I want to do.
So you want to do more than one? Is that?
Well, I at least rebuild some opportunity if that is the case. Not paint anything in too definite of a corner, but really, like, you're just so wholly satisfied by that experience, and yet by the end of it, you had many deltas you could still go on. But yeah, and the other thing is, this will sound really strange, is I think with Halloween, we went back to the original screenplay too and just read it, John Carpenter's draft, and timed it with watching the movie, and line for line, it keeps the same clock as the movie. So if you're reading the pages, it's almost like a shot list. And it's so clean and precise, and it's not a long script by any means, but it is an entire experience. And talk about an ending where you're like, oh, it's like we just pissed off the boogeyman, and he's okay. Like, oh
So-
man.
Well, when the movie is done, when Halloween Returns comes out in theaters, would you be able, as since I'm only a fan and I'm not a celebrity friend of yours, would you be able to mail me a copy of the script after? I'm just saying, because the movie's done, right? I'm being hypothetical.
You know what? I want to say that scripts for any of these things, just about any movie that has been made, shouldn't be that tough to get a hold of. I don't know, because myself, I didn't need any connections or hookups to get the original. I
want it signed by you. That's the thing.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, can you do that, or are you allowed to do that?
I would be happy to. If we're talking at the other end of this thing, and all the miracles line up, and we get to make it, and it's awesome, and we both love it, then absolutely yes, I'd be more than happy to.
We know horror films in general tend to have a lower budget. Is there a budget in mind, and is there a targeted profit level for this film to keep it going into the future?
Well, that's the nice thing about Halloween is Patrick and I even did the math, and the adjustment for inflation between the original budget of $300-some thousand to today, and yet adding in, what moments should feel big and what moments should maybe feel suspenseful. Suspense isn't expensive. A karate fight in a burning room is expensive.
You really hate Resurrection, don't you?
I don't hate Resurrection, but I know one of the guys who worked on it, and we had so much fun pissing him off, bringing it up. Do you think, was Michael more like Aikido, or was he like Shotokan? When he was trying, it's like, shut up! I didn't tell him to do karate. But I mean, were you influenced by like Bruce Lee or Jeff Speakman, or was it more like a late stage Succession, and there's spaceships, and it starts to remove itself from the human experience and the intimacy of what's scary, But it's kind of like, and when you approach horror and violence, all of us felt the scrape on Laurie Strode's upper forearm.
Yeah.
And yet I didn't feel the arm getting chopped off. Like, ooh, that's not. I felt the paper cut when McCready was doing the blood test in the thing, because I had suffered a paper cut. So Michael Myers is subtlety and suspense leading up to maybe a few things to calibrate just so, whereas Jason was more of the blunt trauma. His violence was coming from a more primal state, I think, that was asking for it, whereas Michael Myers emerged from elegance and suspense, but had the capability.
Definitely.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure. Take care. Bye.
Bye.